walk down the halls of Rosewood High School. People stare at me like I am some crazy freak. It is hard for me to let my beauty shine. I am tall, but my clothes make me look short. I am skinny, but I love to wear white shirts where I can fit other 3 people like me inside. I have long reddish hair, but I always keep it up in a messy bun, and my eyes are really dark and they do not match my pale skin. I don't have any friends, but books are the main reason I keep myself busy every day. School is a very important part of my life. Partying isn't my favorite activity, and I can't stand all of the drinkers that get together at the bar. My favorite place to read and study, to bother everyone around and let themselves consuming alcohol just to feel popular. My social life is based mostly on books, movies, and music, due to the fact that I am not good at making any friends, and most of the people at school think I am some weirdo girl that only lives her schoolwork and nothing else in life. I've had a very tragic episode in my life, and this happened 7 years ago. When I was only 8 years old, my mom was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I was too small to know what the pancreas was, and it was hard for me to even understand what cancer was. On August 18, 2010, I go home after school, as happy as my life could make me. I did my homework, and then my dad arrived home from the hospital, where my mom was staying for a few days. I was surprised by the look on his face. He was a very serious man, but he would always come into the house with lots of energy and sparkle. On this day, he had a depressing look on his face, like an abandoned dog in the streets. I couldn't understand what his facial and body expressions were trying to tell me, but soon I found myself all dressed in black and white, full of strangers around me, all saying they were sorry for my loss. In that moment, I saw her, all dressed up in her favorite dress, sleeping in a box that seemed to be a coffin. A couple of minutes later, my dad walked through the crowd and picked me up, taking me to a faraway closet behind my mom's coffin. That's when my dad finally spit out the words. Silver, your mom was the most courageous woman I ever met. She told me to tell you that she will be finding the other life she will be living, and she also asked me to remind you that you can never trust someone too much because she or he may hurt you. I don't know what my dad expected me to say. We had a very big pause in our conversation. We stood coldly in that dark and dark closet that we were in. I asked my dad, is mom dead? The only way he was capable of answering the question was by exploding into a river of tears and yelling out all sorts of words that could come into his mind. It was hard for me to keep calm. By then, I was very small and he was a lot stronger than me. With a big bear hug, he was able to keep himself under control and he took deep breaths, trying to continue his normal breathing again and be calm. I thought I was capable of maintaining the promise I did with my mom to never trust no one ever until one day, one of the most handsome guys I had ever seen in my life started to take classes at Rosewood High School too, and I had a feeling I had to be a good friend for him. His name was Jackson, and we bonded easily, letting me experience that making friends wasn't as hard as it looked like. In less than a week, I had total trust on the new boy at school that was as tall as me, had dark soft hair, dark skin like a chocolate, and wide brown eyes that were the windows to his mind. The only thing I didn't know about him would be the main reason my life would take a huge leap and turn me into someone I wasn't. The problem was that it was all a secret that he kept from me and no one would ever notice it. Months went by and Jackson and I gained full trust on each other. He thought I was too focused in school and he made me ease up my studying standards, leaving time for me to go to the bar and hang out for a while with all the drinkers. He was part of them too. One day I felt a curiosity to try something new, so I decided it was time for me to try the icy, water-like drink everyone kept offering me continuously. Jackson specifically. I walked cautiously through the people and up to the barman. Hello, young lady. What can I serve you in this chill, dark night? The barman asked me. I would like a scotch, please, I answered. Luckily, Jackson was there next to me supporting me in my decision. I carefully carried up the cup, making sure the barman wouldn't see my face completely because I was too young to be drinking in a bar. I gently put the edge of the cup on my lips, turned the cup upwards, and felt how the cold drink came through my teeth while I took a sip of the liquid. This felt like coming back to life. I felt how the strange drink made its way through my trachea, burning my throat completely. It was majestically refreshing. I took another sip, feeling the same way as last time, and became a little sloppy. I couldn't understand how my body had changed. Every day I had to take at least 1 cup of vodka, tequila, or scotch to feel renewed and start my day the right way. Alcohol had become my worst addiction. I wish I had never tried that drink that everyone seemed to love. Suddenly, I would feel sick if no drop of alcohol touched my mouth. Worse than an addiction, it had become my medicine and one of my basic needs. I would wake up at night, walk downstairs, search for any bottle of alcohol possible, and suddenly drink it all without even caring about what my dad could think. Thanks to Jackson, there was not a single day I wouldn't join him to drink at the bar. He was my drinking partner and my best friend. One of those days, while hanging out at the bar, I got confused with a conversation between Jackson and I. "Hey, Silver," Jackson said. "Have you ever thought of getting your dad out of your life? He was never been so close to you since your mom died, so why have him with you, controlling you, when he actually doesn't show any interest in what goes on in your life? I think you should kill him." This was a tough moment. I couldn't believe he had just said the words he said. Fortunately, we were both really drunk, so I didn't answer the questions he asked me, and I didn't even care. I still felt weird to know he had such a violent mind. In any moment, I could expect him to kill my father. That night, I went to sleep thinking how much I loved my family and that even if we weren't very close, we were always there for each other. "She drives me crazy," Jackson said. "She drives me crazy," Jackson repeated. I don't know what's happening to me. All of these feelings I had never felt before. Being a robot is hard. Helping Silver is hard too. I had never been able to think by myself like this before. What is happening to me right now? Jackson said to himself. In that same moment, a hologram from Captain Phillips appeared in Jackson's room. Jackson lived alone. He never had any parents, so he was a very independent person. In the hologram, the captain clearly told Jackson that he had been doing a very good job on his task and that he had given him the freedom to think and feel. That was the reason Jackson had felt weird before. From now on, Jackson understood what had felt when he saw Silver was love. It was hard for him to accept the fact that he had fallen in love with her, but it was better for him to have feelings so he could protect Silver now whenever he had to. Meanwhile, on planet Venus stood Captain Phillips trying his best to find the trickiest way possible to get Mr. Blackman, Silver's dad, killed. Only his robots knew what his goal was, but only Mr. Blackman and him knew the why of the story. The only way to get him into Mr. Blackman was to harm his daughter, because she was the only thing he had left in his life to make him company while he fixed watches. 2 days later, the only source of love that Blackman had disappeared. Silver was kidnapped by Captain Phillips' robot troops, and all of them were twice as powerful as poor, sensitive Jackson. There wasn't much Jackson could do to protect Silver, so he just went along with her as her company so she wouldn't get scared. Captain Phillips had in mind a beautiful idea to call the attention of Mr. Blackman. He tortured Silver in any way possible. Silver was kicked, hit, and even raped by the robot troops. That's when she realized that Jackson had been a part of the plan. He tried to defend her as much as he could until it became impossible for him to handle all the robots. When the captain realized that Jackson was protecting Silver, he felt let down by one of his inventions, and his only solution that came to his mind was to exile poor Jackson. Silver was the worst victim of all alternative issues. Her main concern was why did she have to be the victim of this violent act. It was hard for her to draw conclusions of what might have happened, so she decided to ask the famous captain. The captain was a very strict man. He had scars all over his dirty face. He had a huge mustache and he was bald. He wasn't good at words. He expressed himself with violent moves, and all of them were hurting lonely Silver. Out of Venus, Jackson flied alone, coming back to Earth. He thought that he had disappointed Silver in as many ways possible. He felt he hadn't been a good friend for her. He let the captain exile him from Venus, for Silver was being tortured, and now she was all alone in a desert of robots where she couldn't escape on her own. He was trying to figure out the same question Silver had in mind. He couldn't understand why was it that Captain Phillips sent him to planet Earth and gave him the job of turning Silver into an alcoholic and convincing her of killing her dad. What had happened between Captain Phillips and Mr. Blackman for the captain to escape to Venus, only to have enough time to plan how he would kill a lonely, hard-working man. Jackson had to find about the past, and the best way to do that was by asking the people who lived it and who better than Mr. Blackman to tell him the story. Parallel to Jackson's situation, Silver was finally resting after being used by the robots. She had to negotiate with Captain Phillips so she could understand what had happened in the past that was affecting her now. She had to walk through puzzled hallways like those of a labyrinth. The walls were all white, and the architecture of the place couldn't be more beautiful. As the wide and lonely halls ended, Silver could already feel so much better. She wandered around for a little while until she found the captain's office. She could feel him yell as hard as his voice could get, and all of a sudden a female voice swiped in and calmed him down immediately. That voice had total control over the captain, and that would be his soft spot. Silver could get the information she needed to understand her situation. She slid through the tiny hole that the door had left open between it and the frame. Silver watched how a gorgeous woman, possibly a robot, carried the captain to bed where they were going to sit down. After Silver hid behind the bed, where none of them could see her, she listened to the two voices whispering small fragments that she couldn't understand. She got closer the moment they hugged each other, and that's when she decided to portray this woman's voice to ask the question. "What do you have against that poor little girl?" Silver asked in a low voice, imitating the woman. "It isn't an issue with her. It is an issue with her that I have," Captain Phillips answered. In that slight second, Silver managed to push the lady's off button and she could tangle her as she wished. She kept on asking more about the issue. "What did the man do to you?" "I was in love with the most wonderful girl in the world. She was perfect. The man, he was my best friend. One day we were at the lake house having fun with another friend of ours. The man got really drunk. It was hard for him to keep balance. He tripped and pushed the only girl I ever fell in love with to the lake. She got stuck on algae at the bottom of the lake and never came out. The man killed my love." In that second, Silver let go of the robot, and the man astonished himself by the presence of the teenager in his bedroom. He became a beast again. Meanwhile, Jackson hurried his journey back to Earth, and he was able to find Mr. Blackman's house in less than a single second could ever pass by. He didn't even take the courtesy of knocking on the door. He rushed in quickly and grabbed Mr. Blackman, yelling out lots of nonsense words. Finally, he got calm and started explaining to Mr. Blackman what had happened. "We have to get her back," yelled Silver's dad. "We have to reach Venus on time before the man ends up killing your daughter. We can't do it easily because I can fly there. The issue is entering the planet because I have been exiled, so if they see me inside, they will immediately kill me." "That's good, and to enter, you can fly me in, but you'll be inside a white, big jacket that I'll be wearing, and we can pretend I'm a robot that while we come in. Okay, let's hurry. Take food, supplies, and some oil so we can feed on our way." They packed up what they needed and immediately took off. It was a hard journey for Jackson because he had to carry a big man on his back, but he was trying to do everything in his power to save Silver. They arrived to Venus, managed to get in without anyone noticing, and wandered the halls of the station they were standing on, searching for Silver. They heard the screams of that big man, which guided them to the slightly open door where Silver had come in before. As they took a look inside, they found a furious man, holding Silver on his arms. "Let her go!" screamed Mr. Blackman, nervous for what the captain could do to her. "Well, well, well, isn't it the man who killed the woman I love?" "Hello, Daniel Blackman. What has brought you here today?" asked the captain. "Let my daughter go now!" yelled Mr. Blackman. "It is a pleasure for me to have her in my power. What do you want me to do to her? Punch her? Kick her? I think she's had enough of that. Let her go already, and let's give a solution to this issue that, as adults, we are now." "Do you think I'm stupid?" the captain said. "No, but the only way we can figure things out is by talking. Let's talk about what happened to you that night. I was drunk. You were drunk too. We started playing boxing because you started punching me. Later, we were wrestling on the border of the lake. You pushed me hard. I was about to fall to the lake, but Donna was standing there, and she got thrown to the water with my strength. She saved my life. I didn't mean to push her. It was all an accident." Feeling guilty of what had happened, the captain carried Silver high up, grabbed her by the neck, and twisted it hardly, making Silver faint immediately to the ground and passing out. Revenge had never felt so good before. "Now we are paired."